We are awaiting a final washout, the same washout that we've been looking for now a couple of weeks, and it is slowly, ever so slowly happening. And I really would not be entertaining the possibility to even buy any of these assets until the targets that we speak about in this video are at minimum met. And even then, I mean, it's going to be a major question mark, to be honest. But in the short term, still downside does prevail. We'll start it off with XRP, then we'll go to Solana, Ethereum, and Bitcoin in that order. And XRP here, we can see several things that we were looking at over the past couple weeks now playing out. We can see hidden bearish divergence on the daily time frame has indeed marked yet another lower high in a series of lower highs here, as this one does actually go into a real downtrend. On top of that, we can see that if we go to our stochastic momentum oscillator, this is going to be combined with downside momentum as long as XRP is closing dailies below 248. Right now trading at 212.5, so I'd say that's rather far away, and that's actually going to be consistent with all of the higher term timeframes on XRP. So I do think that XRP is going to play catch up with the rest of the market. The rest of the market has essentially gone to the downside. I think XRP going to be following in suit here a little bit more aggressively in the near term. 2-day time frame also showing downside momentum as long as XRP is closing below 233. 3-day time frame also freshly crossing to the downside as long as XRP is below 233 as well. 5-day time frame also going to be downside angled as long as XRP is below 239. And of course, if we go to the weekly and the monthly, these are going to be down as well. Or sorry, actually the monthly will not be yet, but the weekly certainly is, as long as XRP is below 289. Monthly is like the last part of hopium here. Still remains up as long as it's above 170. So that begs the question, where is this one likely to kind of find itself before its next bounce attempt? Maybe reversal, but the more that I look at this, the more I'm starting to think, I don't fucking know about that. I don't know about no reversals that carry on into like a major new all-time high, at least in the more near term. But as of right now, the obvious target here is essentially the lows that we've been seeing for XRP over the past few months, which is in this region between about $2 on the upper end versus about 180 or so on the lower end. Somewhere in that pocket right there, you can see that the white 200 simple moving average on the daily time frame is also rising up to that level and probably meets it sometime this next coming week. I suspect that that is a pretty obvious target for this current downside move, and very likely we do see a bounce around that region. I mean, things extremely commonly do bounce off of major moving averages like this, but you know, if as long as XRP is really below the last trending lower high, which is about $2.50, can't really be bullish on it. At least I can't be bullish on it. But you know, does it come down here, put in something resembling a low, and then pop back up? I guess that would be the like the closest area that I'd really entertain something like that as possible. But I do want to again reiterate that it's lower highs the whole way through as long as you're below $2.50. So, you know, it could easily come down here, have a pretty decent bounce, you know, could bounce from like 180 to 220, for example. I'm not saying it's going to, but you know, that's certainly possible here. But that would still be another lower high, setting this one up for likely another run at the lows if that were to happen. So I do look at XRP as, you know, just the same as everything else, despite it having a relatively stronger position compared to the other majors, especially over the past few weeks. You know, it just hasn't been as bearish as those ones, but like I said, looking like it's playing catch up here. Don't think it's going to be immune from the downside moves in this. I mean, obviously it's not immune because, you know, it is coming down here. Anyways, moving on from there, let's go into Solana. Solana also a massive failure as well. This one, certainly well, shit. Do you think this one's the weakest one or Ethereum's the weakest one? At least Solana made a new all-time high this cycle, so there's that. But as it stands right now, you know, the LARP lines that we drew out here still is basically what I'm thinking. There is yet another lower high, as you know, as Wednesday's price action did confirm, in a series of lower highs. So downtrend is rather strong, and momentum is turning down freshly on the daily time frame after essentially a bearish reset here. And this one carries on further south as long as Solana is below 144. So short-term pressure is to the downside. Of course, we could also go over the daily wrong chart. There we go. Let's go over here and let's go over here. We could also reference the daily hidden bearish divergence here. Again, 1, 2, 3 drives. It's probably good enough to get this thing at least back down around the lows of March, which is closer to like 110. Yeah, closer to 110. Somewhere in this pocket right here, I suspect. And then does it set up for another bounce? Well, I would think so. I would think so. Is that bounce going to be a reversal? That's the that's $1 million question right now. If there is going to be a reversal in the near term, I expect it does come from this area here. But in order to confirm a reversal at this point, it would realistically need to go back above at least 180 to really initiate long-term, bull market hopium yet again. Until then, you do have trending lower highs the whole way through here. Probably has a nice bounce off of low 100s, but it's the downtrend's a downtrend, unfortunately. Anyways, as far as the higher term timeframes go, the monthly I think still tells a story. It's just not wise to be bullish on these things as long as the monthly stochastic oscillator is positioned to the downside. Nothing's changed here, obviously, in the last few months since we started bringing this one up. The current pivot is about 248.5, so let's just call it 250. Don't see that happening this month. I'm going to go out on a limb here. Don't think that's happening this month, but so I would still remain with an overall downside bias. And if this one does break to new lows, like let's say it does start to close below the March lows, the next obvious target is going to be actually sub 100. It's going to be closer to about 85-ish region, somewhere around there before the next sort of bounce attempt. I would imagine. So Solana looking pretty fucking bad. Anyways, moving on. We have Ethereum here. Again, Ethereum has been the easiest one because it's been the most consistent in just being an absolute fucking failure. And this is the monthly stochastic oscillator here. Again, it's been positioned to the downside basically for the last year. And there's just no reason to be bullish on this thing as long as it is continuing to the downside, which it will as long as Ethereum is closing monthlies below 2,700 almost. Right now trading like almost $1,000 below that pivot. And with 2.5 days left in the trading month to go, I'm gonna have to go out on a limb here and say probably not looking good. On top of that, the quarterly is looking atrocious. In fact, if the quarterly closes anywhere below like 2,000, this just it's coming down. It's coming down. And by the way, the quarterly stochastic momentum will also come to the downside, cross to the downside for the first time in about 2 years, since October of 2023. Assuming that Ethereum closes a month out below about 2250 or so. So, this one looking pretty fucking bad. Where would the natural sort of short-term targets be upon continuation? Well, in this one, your most obvious sort of short / near-term target would be the March lows. Do things try for another bounce there? Yeah, probably. But similar to Solana, similar to XRP, unless if that bounce really reclaims a significant level. In this case, I'd really want to see this one back like well above 2,000. Let's call it 2,200. I look at this as likely to break down even further. I do think if this one does have another downside move to new lows, the obvious area to be referencing here is around about 1,500. Let me actually just do it for this very specific time frame, but around this region right here, about 1,500, give or take, maybe $100 from that number, should be a pretty decent bounce around that region. But yeah, that's still like another more than 10% down from where it's at right now. Just fucking crazy stuff. Anyways, that's it for XRP, Solana, and Ethereum. We can get into some Bitcoin analysis right now as well. Let's just quickly go over here. This one's actually rather short and simple and sweet. Very, very simply put, hidden bearish divergence on the daily, 2-day, and I think even 3-day time frame. Actually, no, the 3-day does not have it. But hidden bearish divergence on these time frames within an overall downtrend. Also on relatively low BBWP, I think you're going to see another move back down around the daily 200 simple on CME here, and that's a little bit above the current lows. That's at around $79,000 as of now. I've been saying on this pullback, I'm looking anywhere from like 78 to 81. So, that's kind of like right in the middle there. So somewhere around there does look very, very likely to me. If Bitcoin is indeed going to not end its bull market, you might already call the bull market over. Look, even for the most ardent of bulls, even for the most enthusiastic of bulls, if we start to see closures below the March lows, even on a daily time frame, this is coming down a lot more, like a lot more. But I guess bull market hopium can still remain somewhat alive until that indeed happens. So just like all of the other ones, I do think it's coming back down towards these lows this next coming week. Do I think there's going to be a bounce around the 200 simple? There should at least be an attempt at a bounce. But for Bitcoin here, it would need to really reclaim this last lower high that we just saw from this past week. So that would effectively be on CME at about just under $89,000. I think about the same for spot as well. So it ain't happening anytime soon, but we're gonna find out. we're gonna fuck around, and we're also gonna find out very quickly, I suspect. If this market cycle is like definitely fucking over, or if there's still a bit of hopium here. So again, either which way, I do think this one, just like the other, comes down to these regions here. But I would personally hold on to a little bit of hopium until we see the extent of the bounce. If the bounce, of course, pops up and tops out somewhere around like $85,000, hey, like it's another lower high, baby. It's another lower high. And just as we have been saying for the past, feels like a month now, look, as long as Bitcoin is below the last trending lower high here at $93,000 on CME, it's like you're better off looking for more downside. And that's happening yet again on this next lower high. So I suppose we will follow up on this, of course, in this coming week. If you would like to be updated on that, consider subscribing. It does help out the channel, and it also helps get the YouTube algo to promote these videos to you so you can get them on time. And other than that, we are actually in the last couple of days of our sale. We got our 7th year anniversary sale going on right now for the next, actually 2 days until Monday, with the code YEAR7, year in all capitals, and then the number 7. And then we are also offering a 30 days free trial for most of our indicator services here. So the Quant Prime AI has that. The Caretaker's Indicator Bundle also has that. The VMP has it, and even the Quantum Wave Bands, which is a very, very nice, actually, done-for-you scalping strategy. All of those have the 30-day free trial. It's there for you to take advantage of and see, if these indicators are relevant to your trading. And we really do suspect that the more people that get their hands on these things, the more and more that you're going to realize it's hard to not use them, at least in my opinion at this point. I mean, I use all of these things, so that's why I'm so shilly with it. Anyways, we are going to sign off on that note. A long way of saying I expect new lows this coming week compared to this prior week. And, if hopium prevails, then we should see a heroic bounce in the probably upper 70s for Bitcoin. But until then, things remain bearish. Things remain, again, short-term downside. And we'll wrap it up on that point. As always, I want to wish everyone the best. Take care, much love, and see you hopefully tomorrow.